It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, on this episode, I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing two members of a brand new band called Cosmic Cathedral. They are well known to us. All four of the musicians in this band are world class and have been at their craft for a very long time. And it's an exciting thing when some very mature and excellent musicians come together and form something new. And that's what we have with Cosmic Cathedral. Neal Morse, Keaggy, Byron House, and Chester Thompson formed this brand new group, and their debut album called Deep Water is going to be released in April of 2025. And I had the great pleasure of interviewing Neal and Phil. And y'all, stay tuned because Chester pops into the chat right before we end up concluding the interview. And stay tuned following the interview because I am going to be reacting to their brand new song, the first single from Cosmic Cathedral. It is called Launch Out Part 1. So stay tuned for that. But now I am happy to share my interview with Neal Morse and Keaggy. All right, hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. I am joined by Neal Morse and Keaggy of a brand new band. Who says you can't teach old dogs new tricks, friends? It's Phil and Neal of a brand new band called Cosmic Cathedral. Welcome in, friends. It's good to talk with you.
Yeah,
Hello.
good to be here, man.
Right, so debut album. A debut album. How about that? Deep Water, set to release on April 25th, 2025 via Inside Out Music. I am pumped about this. This came across my radar a few weeks ago, and I was like, wait, Neal and Chester and Phil and Byron. Holy crap, this is like an all-star band. How did this come about? Inquiring minds want to know. This seems too good to be true, y'all. What's the story?
Let's see. Well, I met Chester. I think we maybe met briefly somewhere at some point, but I actually spoke with him backstage at the Steve Hackett show at the Ryman
Cool.
here in Nashville a year ago, November.
Okay.
And as I was driving away, I felt like the Lord said that I should do something with him. So I got his email.
Was Chester playing with Steve, or was he just in attendance?
He was just in attendance.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, when I went back to say hi to Steve, Chester was in the dressing room, and so I just sort of sat there. It was kind of funny because they played together for years, right? So they're just catching up, old friends catching up, and I'm just kind of like, hi. I was kind of like a fly on the wall. But anyway, so I got Chester's email address, and then we, got together and we had lunch. And then he said, hey, why don't you come over to my house and jam? I was like, okay, yeah. And so he had just this little, he has a small room downstairs with a drum kit and a Triton keyboard in the same room.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, can you play keyboards in the same room as a drummer and hear anything? Are you going to hear the piano? But Chester plays.
You gotta have your headphones on, right?
Chester, no phones.
Really?
He plays in the room. He has a jazz background, so he was playing very
He's amazing.
melodically, and it was so different for me. I really enjoyed that, and then we started talking. Right away you can feel when something's happening.
Yeah.
Something's gelling. I felt like something was there, and since we started talking about who else we would like to work with and bring in, and my first thought was Phil, and I don't remember who was it Phil or you that suggested Byron?
I think Chester may have.
Mm.
I think Chester may have. But I could have. I mean, I know this was probably about 14 months ago we first discussed it, January 2024, right?
Right, that's right. Yeah.
And we all converged in your studio where you are right now, and we must have played, and Jerry, your co-producer and engineer, he recorded the jams that we did, and we were calling out chords to each other, and you were making up lyrics on the spot, and I
Yeah.
was joining in the lyrics you made up on the spot, and it was inspiring. It was really was a
Awesome.
beautiful experience.
So I read that much of this album, much of the music on this album was created from your jam sessions. So talk about getting the four guys in a room together and improvising. You talk about calling out chords, or are you just over there going, "We need to go to the four," or who sets the groove? Do you
Wow.
decide upon a progression before you start, or do you just go and see what happens?
Everybody chipped in. Chester would start a groove, or
Mm,
Byron would start a riff. Neal had his ideas. I think I came up with an idea or two, and everybody just kind of fell in. One of the beautiful things about that day was we before we even began to play a note, we all took a turn and prayed to the Lord that he would
mm,
bless our time together, right, Neal?
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah, that was great.
So you
That was
go
really
into
cool.
it with humility and an openness to collaborate. It's a really nice
Mm.
way to kind of introduce something new. That's
Oh
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
was,
go ahead.
I was praying you know, the whole time, kind of like Lord sing through me, speak, like, so we would just be jamming, and I would kind of feel something inside like sing, and I
Mm.
didn't know what I would sing, but I would just go, okay, I'm going to be obedient. And I think one of those times was, I watched the stars fall over the earth, right? Which
That's
is
right.
actually, the opening line of Time to Fly.
Huh.
So there were some things that happened like that that are actually directly on the album.
That's really cool. Um, so when did the jamming and recording take place? Was it just during 2024 at different times, or were you guys together for like an intense few weeks? Or talk to me about the process with coming up with all of this.
It was pretty sporadic. I think we got together in January, and
January.
then,
Okay.
and I think I was gone in February, and then I had Cruise to the Edge in March, and Phil, you had a problem with your hand.
I was dealing with trigger thumb
Mm,
and developed trigger finger in my forefinger
mm.
and the thumb. My thumb, I had to have a cortisone shot in April so I could do a concert um, that was scheduled May, I think it was.
Mm.
And it got me through the concert. But then if I put any pressure on the thumb, it locked up, and it was extremely painful to move the joint.
Wow.
So I went to see a hand specialist, a surgeon, and he says, "Yep, you got trigger thumb, and I can operate on it." I said, "And this finger's locking up on me in the morning. I wish I wouldn't had that one operated on,
Hmm.
because even to this day, it's slower than my other three fingers." But um, so I had my hand in a cast. My operation occurred on July 19th. And that was around the time that Neal and Chester and Byron literally tracked the songs. And I couldn't be at the session for
Well,
that.
that's no good.
No, no. So I mean, I'm just being honest. Um,
Yeah.
and I didn't know if I would even be a part of the album.
Hmm.
Uh, but those guys said, no, we want you to be a part of it. And they arranged to send me the files. And
Awesome.
I did all my guitar parts in my own studio, and which was really a blessing because I know how to get the sounds I want, and I took my time to learn all of Neal's complicated lines and riffs, and to duplicate his keyboard lines or his guitar lines.
Hmm.
And you know, I think it was really the Lord that those guys tracked it. They were the foundation of the
Hmm.
cathedral, and I got
Right.
to bring in some of the sweetening and my personality through my guitar. And but then Neal invited me to be a part of the vocals too. So I was able to sing harmonies and even one of the songs called Walking in Daylight.
Hmm.
I had the files and there was a scratch vocal by Neal, and he's doing his phonetic thing, you know, because he's just creative that way. And then, but he didn't apparently have the time to sit down and really write your final words to it, right? You just had phonetic sounds and few words, you know, walking in daylight. And so I thought I would take a stab at the lyrics, and I did a vocal in my own studio and as a demo. And I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do, but you ended up using that vocal. And he kept my voice on the song, which was an honor, you know.
That's cool.
I got to sing a
Oh,
lead vocal
I,
on a Neal
I thought
Morse
it was I
project.
thought it was great, man. We were all really really happy
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, oh yeah, because
Hmm.
honestly, I had a little bit forgot. Like we kind of tracked that and then moved on.
Mm.
And you
You
forgot
know,
about it in some
yeah, we
way.
kind of forgot about it. And then when we got all your stuff, that was so great. I just want to tell one little funny something I think is kind of
Go
funny.
for it.
Uh, so Phil's still, having difficulty with his hand in August,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm like, hey, we'll wait, but can you come up and sing? I've got some things I'd love to sing together because I've always loved Phil's voice and I've always wanted to sing something, sing things together.
Well,
Uh,
we sang together on your one album,
yeah,
or
yeah, on
which
the
Okay.
one
album
album.
after that? I forgot.
Yeah, no, it's the one on the one album, but that was quite a long time ago, almost
Yeah,
20 years now. But
yeah.
anyway, so he said, yeah, I can come up and sing, and but I can't really play, and I'm like, that's fine, man, and we'll just spend a day, getting your voice, and so he's here and he's singing, and he comes into the room here, and he sees my ES 335, and he's like, oh, hey, can I play that? And he picks it up. He starts playing. Sounded pretty good to me. So, can I plug it in? I'm like, Jerry, plug it in and roll the track and start
Roll the
recording.
track. Yeah.
And and Phil just like starts just playing all this amazing stuff. Oh, can I try this other guitar? Right? Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
so, so what I say about that was, and Jerry and I were just like, don't say anything, don't spoil it. And what I say about that is, Phil plays better injured than just about any other guitar players
Oh my
in the
goodness.
world.
Well,
Oh my
You were
goodness.
playing great stuff.
Well,
Go ahead, Phil.
real quick, the first true, you know, solo I did with big tone and overdrive, and um with my trusty old white Zion guitar I've used ever since the Wind in the Wheat album, um, um, was Heart of Life. The first solo, there's a breakdown between drums and bass. Dun ba dun ka dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
And that solo that comes in was the first jab I think I did
Hmm.
with that tone. And I go, my goodness, I can do that. The thumb is not locking up, but I can't get it over the fretboard anymore like I used to. And it's not so bad on the electric, but on the acoustic, it's a real challenge for me
Hmm.
sometimes because I naturally want to go to that. But I achieved a solo that I felt really good at. And then there's a second solo in Heart of Life after the Captain Bligh line that you sing about. I thought of God as Captain Bligh.
right. Yeah,
I didn't know the reason why or something like that. It's how I learned to fly. And in this amazing moment, it was just like the canvas was spread out for me to spill my paint on.
Hmm.
And
yeah,
I mean that gave me so much encouragement. And from that point on, we just kept on going. And then through October, I did more guitar parts and went back up and did vocals a couple more times, did
Okay.
harmonies with you,
yeah,
and how the album closes with the last part of the Deep Water Suite. It was so moving that my goodness, I listen to that. I get literally moved on the inside in my heart and my soul when I hear how the album closes.
Wonderful.
It's amazing. Have you heard it? Doug?
I haven't. I haven't heard any of it. I've heard just enough of the first thing that's been released, the first video here, just to
Oh,
make sure that it plays. And I'm like, okay, and it looks like y'all are in the studio recording that, which is going to be fun. But no, I haven't heard anything from the new album yet. I've been a good Doug. I've been saving myself until I could do a proper reaction here. So the thing that I'm curious about, I mean, y'all have talked about the the great chemistry that happens really quick with the four of you in the band, and all four of you bring a wealth of experience and influences to the recording studio and to a jam session. So, I mean, is the music like, are you going full tilt, proggy, wonderfulness? Are you going more groove based with like rock and roll? Are you going
yes,
more like
yes,
catchy melodic stuff? I
yes,
mean, a little of all the above, right? So,
right.
yeah, was it just based on what you like to play or what you wanted to hear, or were you trying to come up with something that uh, might like reinvent your I don't know what you're known for. I don't know. Is because all four of you are so different in your backgrounds, but yet
Mhm.
so capable in your musicianship. I just can't wait to hear everything. So it's a little prog, a little rock, a little groove, a little catchy melody, a little bit of everything kind of stewed in, huh?
I would say so.
Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a really interesting blend, you know. It's like you bring all these elements into the kitchen and you add a little this and then a
Add a
little
little
bit
of
of
that,
that,
yeah.
or the I like the cathedral analogy, you know, like
Hmm.
you got the foundation and then you need the walls and you got your got to have your beautiful things, your stained glass, and you just
I,
get it
I,
all in there and it makes its own unique building, its own with its own
Yeah.
character, you know, and that's what I'm one of the things I'm really happy about on this album is I feel like it has its own fresh kind of character to it.
Cool.
um,
So go ahead.
well, I knew Byron was a great bassist, but to hear him play on this album, I don't think I've ever heard Byron play like that.
Hmm.
Um, there's probably some albums he's played on that I missed. Um, and man, I couldn't believe it. It was really fantastic. Chester is like he's so tasteful and so solid, and he's played on one of my albums, an album called All at Once.
Okay.
And I was I was always moved by his sense of groove, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And he swings, he grooves, and then he can play all this stuff at his age is amazing. And then of course I'm watching Neal's fingers. They fly over the keyboard, but they're so melodic. There's not a note out of place. I mean, it's just so well constructed.
Hmm.
And it's like, oh my goodness. When I heard the files for the first time, I thought to myself, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
I'd love to be a part of this
Yeah.
project. And I was. And the guys always considered me a part of it, even though I'm a little chapel over there off to the side of the cathedral,
I really can't wait to hear it. Let me talk about the suite itself. The bulk of this album is dedicated to a 9-part, 38-minute suite called the Deep Water Suite. Neal, I mean, you're one of the kings of long tracks. That's even long for you, man, I think.
It is.
So,
It is.
in this major work, what's your topic? What's your point of view? I know that many of your previous works have centered on your Christian faith, and when I look at the lyrics
Mhm.
from Launch Out Part 1, the part that's already out,
Mhm.
it seems as though deep water is being presented as a metaphor for diving deep into a more like profound meaning and understanding of this life and what we're here for. And, you know,
Mhm.
am I on the right track? Talk a little bit about what this suite is about.
Yeah, well, deep water would be the deep place of the spirit, the deep
Mm,
place of like full trust in God, like giving your whole life. This is how I see it.
mm,
Uh, Giving your whole life over, and most of the piece is about the sort of the conflicts that arise around that, the things that want to keep us stuck. Um, you know, the
Mm.
kind of the trappings of this world and a modern life,
mm.
and the encourage and the encourager, the refrain keeps coming back. It's okay. It's okay. Launch out into the deep water. It'll be
Sure,
good.
it'll be
Which
good.
is
Be
kind of
courageous, you know?
yeah, it's the whole process. I mean, this for me, this is a daily walk kind of thing. There's always things that are like, oh boy, I'm challenged with that.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know if I can really step fully into that, but I'll feel like the Lord saying, trust me, it'll be good. But I can't see it. A lot of times, we can't see how things will work out.
sure.
This, the walk of faith is like, I can't see. He doesn't give us a floodlight to our future, just enough light for our next step.
Yeah, we take a step and we're not sure if it's the right step or if it's in the right direction or if it's the right time to take a step, but you take the step,
Yeah.
right? And you start on that path.
And that's where all the really good stuff is.
Okay.
And then after all of this talk about water, then the last song really says that Jesus is the deep water.
Mm,
Really, that's kind of at the end of it. It's like, you're the water, you're the deepest place I
Mm.
know.
Mm.
So
is
uh,
this then meant to be overtly Christian, or is it something that on a spiritual sense that can be a little more broadly interpreted?
well, what I try to do, and I think what we try to do, is create from an honest place what we
Mm,
feel like is what God wants us to create at this time. And then however that is um, held by the listener, however
sure.
that is received, I just kind of leave all that to the Lord. Um, I don't know how people will, because sometimes you'll think something is pretty overt and people will be like, oh, I didn't really get that.
Interesting. Yeah.
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 Well,
Otherwise, you feel like you're being kind of I don't know, maybe poetic and maybe a little vague. And sometimes people are like, wow, that was really in your face. So,
Mm,
you know, everybody has their own kind of interpretation from wherever they're coming from. And I
I,
just I just pray that it's a great blessing to them.
absolutely. Um, I think it's honest. I think the whole Deepwater Suite comes from a completely honest place of struggle, conflict, perhaps temptation, um, consumerism, whatever people are dealing with. But it's about trusting, like Neil says, about trusting in a God who loves us.
mm.
And of course, we see this as good news. This is good news. And it's not vague, Neil has a line in there. I sing for Jesus. It was for me he died.
Mm.
He unlocked the door to heaven. Um, and the next line, Neil, is he unlocked the door to heaven. Now we can pass from death to life. If that's not good news, I don't know what is. It's really honest, direct, and I think it's humble.
Yeah. And if that's not overt enough, I don't know what is. I mean, come on.
It is. It's like handing somebody a Gospel of John. Hey, read this. This is
Yeah.
good news.
I love that y'all are writing from a sense of deep personal um I don't know, it's like what's dwelling on your brain and what's stirring inside of you, and it has to manifest itself, in some way. And I can't wait to listen to the whole darn thing. But there are other tracks on this album. You have four tracks that precede this particular suite. I'm looking at the track list. The Heart of Life is the opening track. And at 13 and a half minutes, it's actually the longest track on the album because you broke up all the others. But what's that particular song about, and how does it make for a good album opener and an opener to a new listener to a new band? You know, that's your first track out. Talk about that track.
Well, let's see. It starts off with a pretty exciting instrumental, and Phil referred to the first guitar solo
Hmm.
in there, and which is came out great. And then it goes into this song that's a little bit poppy, I guess. You know, to me, it's a little bit like you're listening to this pretty cool, sort of proggy, almost jazz fusion-ish feel to it. I think part of that is just, you know, the way we all played.
Hmm.
You know, the players all bring such a flavor of their own. And then when Phil and I start singing, I think it sounds quite Lennon McCartney-esque. And so that's kind of a little bit like I don't know.
That's cool. I don't mind some Beatles.
Return to Forever. I'm seeing your Return to
Yeah.
Return to Forever meets the Beatles kind of thing.
Well, well, we've got, you know, Romantic Warrior and Abbey Road up there. They can just smash them together and have a sandwich. I think would be
There
all
you
right.
go. There you go.
You know, there's also the idea that like Emerson, Lake and Palmer were considered a prog rock group.
Sure.
That's correct, right?
Yes.
And then that song, "Oh, What a Lucky Man He Was," right? Which is so melodic. There, what?
I've got, this is a calligraphy by Greg Lake of the lyrics to Lucky
I didn't know you had that. I didn't see that.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Wow.
One of my prize things, one of my patrons sent me that. And it's 344 out of 750. Oh, what a lucky man he was. Signed by Greg Lake. One of my prized possessions. I put this one up front.
Yeah.
People can see it.
Wow. That's great. Well, there you have it. It's like Neal's song "I Won't Make It," which is the ballad of the album. It's like what a lucky man he was. It's honest and it's beautiful and has strings on it. Didn't Byron also play string bass on that, upright bass?
I think he did.
Cool.
Yeah, and then you had a string section come in your studio.
Well, actually, I sent it to Chris Carmichael. He did it at his place and sent it back.
Oh, Doug, it's too bad you hadn't heard the album before the interview.
I'll come back and tell you what I thought.
Post.
Yeah, post, but it's part of what I do. You know, as I'm here on the Daily Doug, most of what I do is, you know, I was a college professor. I taught music theory and composition for years and years and years, and I've been in the classical world, and I primarily have written choir music. So I've known about all these bands, but I just never took the opportunity to listen to their stuff. So a lot of what I do is, hey, I'm listening to this for the first time. How much can I figure out about what's going on in the track on a first listen?
Beautiful.
That's kind of the game that I play. But yeah, we've gotten through so many great pieces of music, and I've done a couple of full album reactions to stuff by Neal. Both of these Neal Morse band albums that I've got back there, Similitude and Great Adventure. I've done full album reactions on my Patreon. I don't even know if you know about that, Neal.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, we take the patrons upvote and suggest stuff, and certain albums come to the top. And yeah, we've done some full album reactions of some of that, and they're always great because they're so darn narrative as they come together. You always have a point of view that's consistent throughout the music, and it always comes together, and it really provides a cohesive listening experience. And that's what I'm really looking for, or looking forward to hearing as part of this effort. So tell me, is this going to be a studio band only, or do we get to see y'all on the road?
Well, we're doing one gig for sure.
One gig for sure.
We're doing Morse Fest October 17th here in Nashville.
Okay.
And we'll see. We don't know about anything else yet, but
okay.
You'll be the second to know.
Sounds great. One of the other things that I'm curious about is just, we have a section on our Discord where people talk about gear and gizmos, and I'm, from the classical world, I know the classical instruments and the instruments in the orchestra, but all of the special types of guitars and keyboards and synthesizers and all that, I'm a bit of a noob when it comes to all of that. So talk to me about the gear that you're using. Like what's your keyboards? Like what bass are you using, and
Hmm.
guitars and all that sort of stuff.
Well, let's see. I'm using this Voyager. That's the Mini Moog Voyager, and
Okay,
I do all the most of my synth leads and key bass on that. Oh, and then there's a Hammond CV right over there
cool.
behind it. Yeah. So I do all the. I try to do as much real stuff,
Hmm,
So I have a Rhodes piano in the other room and a grand piano. Um, so because I feel like that stuff stands the test of time. Most of the other stuff that I use is kind of pads and string pads and things
hmm,
inside the computer. Every once in a while, I'll look for sound effects and interesting things as far as that goes.
hmm.
But I'm not that much of a gear guy. I've got the East West Library of Sounds, and I look for sounds in there a lot. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, I tend to go for more natural sort of stuff. What about you, Phil?
Well, I think we try to da 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 da. Uh, that's where I take a lead vocal moment in the Deep Water Suite.
Yeah,
Which,
Fires of the Sunrise.
yeah, the
Hmm.
Fires at the Sunrise. That's
Yeah,
it. I played my Olson acoustic, and you're playing acoustic, and I played Olson acoustic on that too. Um,
nice.
but for electric, this was the two guitars I used on.
Got it.
It's a Fender Strat and a Zion guitar with two JB humbuckers and a Kahler uh, tremolo arm. Those are the two guitars I used on the album. On the
Excellent.
video, I used my Les Paul because it's colorful, sunburst, and
And
it's vintage, and it's as old as uh, well, it's a 1971, so it goes back quite a ways.
Mm.
wonderful.
And then I used a Vox AC30, mid 60s AC30 top boost, and I used for most of the leads I did played through a Supro Black Magic amp, which is a dual channel 112, just a great sounding amp. I'm pretty blown away by the quality of that amp.
Cool.
Mm.
Yeah, and you commented at the video shoot, Neil, so that's a good sounding amplifier. It has such a great warm tone, big
And it's
tone.
so light, isn't that? It's pretty light to bring
So
around.
it's half the weight of a Vox AC30 for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all tube. It's a tube amp, and I also used here's I'll show you. Um let me see here. I'll show you a picture. Well, I'll just lift it up.
Uh-oh.
And
Don't
this is
break anything.
Don't break it. Yeah.
you see
Wow.
my pedal board?
Pedal board.
Yeah.
It's got a Cali 76 compressor, a Ryra clone, which is where I get the overdrive from. Got a Keeley uh, trem and verb, uh,
Okay.
6 dimension C chorus, octaver.
Hey,
I
Phil, could you hold it up a little so we could see what's in there?
Yeah,
You can really
yeah,
see it through your arm.
yeah. Okay.
Who says that organists are the only ones that have to play with their feet? I mean, come on.
Right, come on.
Got all of those
I've been
pedals
playing
down
with
there.
my feet for so long, looping and stuff.
Wow.
Oh,
This
that's
is it,
cool.
basically. Can you see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I have that same octaver.
oh yeah, the old Boss octaver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Show and tell time. I love it.
right.
yeah.
Well, wonderful. Thank you for showing me that. It's always a question that I have. I mean, I haven't bought a keyboard in 25 years.
Mhm.
Because my Korg N1 is still just going away. It's at my church office.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
that's what I use there. But yeah, it's amazing all the technology that's allowing us to record all over the place. I mean, y'all sent files to Phil once you were done, and filling in here and there. So it almost doesn't make sense for me to ask where you recorded it anymore, because you just recorded it wherever you were and wherever you could plug in. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got an ISO booth in my studio here, and that's where I have my amps. So I can sit at my workstation
Hmm.
without headphones and just listen it through the monitors. Uh, so I could be more objective
Yeah.
and it blends, make sure it blends with the tracks. And I actually prefer the studio now to live
Okay.
because I just feel that's my element. I've been home recording since the 70s.
Hmm.
And then I got into multi-track in the 80s. And then I got into, you know, I did the ADATs, I did the HDR Mackie, then I went to Pro Tools, and I've been Pro Tools since 2003.
Yeah.
And I really love it. I love editing, I love engineering, and I've mixed a number of albums too. So um, it's great. Well, speaking of mixing, Jerry, good news. How do you pronounce his last name, buddy?
Guidrose.
Guidros.
Hydros.
Guidros. Okay.
Guidrose.
Well, he's, he's really something. Great,
Yeah,
great
he
engineer.
did an amazing job on this album.
He
Really.
did
Yeah.
did he do the mixing or
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, he sure did. He did the mixing. I love the drum sounds and the bass sounds and keys or everything, and and he actually made me smile when I heard the final mixes. I was pretty blown away by the quality. Yeah.
Awesome.
That
Well,
was one thing,
yeah.
by the way, Doug, that was I thought one thing that was unusual about this project in my
Okay.
world was that pretty much everybody loved the mixes right away. There
That
was
never
not
happens.
there were not very many notes, whereas sometimes you'll get pages and pages and pages of notes from people, and
Yeah.
everybody also loved the cover art right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was just
That
like, yeah,
never happens. You mean you all
yeah,
agreed on how it sounds and what the art looks like? That's almost too good to be true.
it
Yeah,
was pretty
my only
amazing.
complaint was in one of the photos. I'm a very short guy. I'm only 5'4", 5'3.5" now, and all these guys are tall fellas.
Yeah.
The complaint was I was born too short.
Well, hi there, Chester.
Hi, Chester.
Hey, hey
Hey,
guys.
How's it
It's
going, man?
I just added to crash the party here.
All right.
I'm glad you
awesome.
I'm glad you did. It's almost time to have dessert, so you came right at the right time.
Uh,
It's great to get to talk to you. I didn't expect that, but wonderful. Um, what can you tell me that's embarrassing about the other two guys? I mean, because they've already told me about the album. I'm just kidding. Uh, but since you're here, talk a little bit about your experience in getting involved with this project and what you enjoyed about it.
oh man, this is well, what I enjoy most. They're all friends for one. We've all worked together, and the skill level of the players is just off the charts. I mean, these guys really take care of business, and yeah, it just flowed.
Excellent.
From beginning to end, just from the first jams, up until the finished product. Uh-oh, sorry. This thing
Uh-oh.
just, yeah, that's an alarm going off. Sorry, no
No
problem.
worries. No worries.
But yeah, from beginning to end, man, this thing has just it's been a real pleasure. Yeah, I mean, everybody's like on the case, and everybody likes to laugh. That's always a good thing.
Excellent. Well, I'm kind of out of questions. y'all. That was all that I was going to do. I was about ready to wrap up. Now I kind of want to keep y'all here now that Chester's here.
Oh, sorry, guys.
I could just get my keyboard out and start. We could just start vamping here. Actually, have you ever tried to have a like a jam session via Zoom with all the lag and everything? That
No, it
can't
doesn't
really
work.
work, does it?
I think
I've
there are
never been
other-
that brave.
Yeah,
No.
there are other platforms that are mechanisms or apps or something that allow that to happen in real time.
Oh, cool.
I tried to play guitar with a friend out in Switzerland, and we couldn't play together because the lag was so intense, you know.
Yeah.
If every computer has to be on Ethernet, you cannot be on Wi-Fi if there's any chance. And I don't even know if it would work then.
Interesting. Interesting.
Hey, ask Chester about how he played the drums like that.
How did you play the drums like that,
All,
Chester?
all smoke and mirrors, man.
Okay. Okay.
It was something else. Incredible. You know, really. I mean, if I would play the album for friends, and I have many friends, I say, can you believe Chester? Can you believe it? He plays like he's a 30-year-old drummer, you know, and
Yeah.
that's a gift from God.
I refuse to grow up. That probably helps, you know.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
we're just blessed to have some music from. I mean, the thing that's really cool, as I've gotten into more of these bands and started to learn the players and the people involved and who plays with who, the thing that I love about prog especially is that there's a willingness and an eagerness to collaborate with as many people as you can. It's not like this is our band and nobody's invited. You know, it's like, all right, let's bring this person in. Let's have guest vocals from this person. I want to have this drummer, or maybe we can have multiple drummers on stage. Who cares? You know, it's just the willingness to just be in the sandbox and have fun playing. I mean,
That's
it's
so
just
true.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's really, really fun.
very true.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think that it's about time for me to let y'all go, but I will be taking a look at Launch Out Part 1 as part of this, and I'll probably include that here after we're done. But I just wanted to say thank you and congratulations on the brand new album and a brand new group. The band is called Cosmic Cathedral. The album is called Deep Water. It's going to be available on CD, on vinyl, and digital on April 25th. And I believe you can pre-order it now. So these fine guys would like you to hear their music. So go out and get it for yourselves, everybody. Phil,
Yeah.
Chester, Neal, thanks so much for being with me, and good luck with the album. And I look forward to talking with you down the line.
All right, man.
Take care.
Good to see
All right.
you, Daily Doug.
Good to see y'all. Well, how fun was that? I can't believe I get to do this, y'all. It's a wonderful privilege, and I had a great time chatting with Neal and Phil. And check out Chester popping in there towards the end. It was great to make an acquaintance with Chester and chat with him for a minute. Byron, we missed you, but we understand. So let's talk about the actual music, friends. This is what y'all are here for. Launch Out Part 1 is the first single from Deep Water, and it ends up being the second track of the Deep Water suite, and I haven't heard it yet. So now is the time, y'all. We've got Neal Morse of the Neal Morse Band and Transatlantic and Flying Colors and Spock's Beard on keyboards and lead vocals. Phil Keaggy, most known for his work with Glass Harp, and you know he's been a player on too many albums to name. He's on guitar. Byron House, the great session player who has appeared with Al Green and Chris Cornell and Dolly Parton and Johnny Cash and a whole lot more. He's on the bass. And Chester Thompson, the longtime drummer with Genesis and Phil Collins, and he also played with Frank Zappa and Santana and Weather Report. He's on the drums. So we got Neal and Phil and Byron and Chester. I cannot wait to see the sounds and hear the sounds that they came up with. So this is Cosmic Cathedral with Launch Out Part 1. Off we go. I'm ready.
Launch out into the deep water.
Okay. Launch out into the deep water.
It'll be better than you know.
That's a little deceptive resolution there. Okay, friends. Check it out. Three, four, five, six, seven. They settled into C. Groovy as shit. Okay. Up by step. It's a fa to mi resolution over that. Sounds great. They've gone away from the 7 and into a straight 4.
Launch out into the deep water.
Nice. Launch out into the deep water. There's that upward resolution by a half step that we've heard before. New section.
If life's a tree, don't shake it for me. I've got no time for new additions.
So they
From 9 to 5,
kind of just settle into a straight 4 groove here for this verse.
trees now cease to shade. The posers are on parade. But still I hear
Up by a half step, right? So that's up to the 7, the flat 7. But it becomes it went back to G, it went 4 to 1. That's what they did. When I was young, the prodigal son went out to play his own recital. So
I joined the tribe of the cut and the drive that child in me.
definite references to the Christian faith here. Same that they were doing before. So that's the B flat. When they go to a suspended chord on C, then that is 4 to 1 in G major to launch out. To flat 6. It's just wonderful. Come down into the deep, there is no other time. Okay. So a Lydian over the top of that. An expansive sound. It's like G over the top of F, right? It's so great to see these guys playing together. Great ending with the lovely synth lead. And I lost track of where they even were, so I don't even know what key it landed in. Yeah, maybe an E, I think. Y'all, that's some wonderful sounds, isn't it? Like we were talking about in the interview, it's a little bit of prog. It's got some 7 in there. It's got some groovy stuff laying down in 4. It's got some great guitar work from Phil. Chester is all over the drums. God almighty. Byron's bass is sounding just really great. And Neal, the voice is sounding wonderful. I'm excited to hear the rest of this. Y'all, it's just music that makes sense. You know what I mean? It's rock music that makes sense. It's not trying to be anything other than what it is. It's there to give us just great sounds to live with. And while it's happening, it's inviting us to take a journey with them. And the journey, whether you buy into the faith aspect of it or not, it's a journey of self-reflection. It's a journey of learning yourself better, more intimately, and on a deeper level. It's learning what is inherently true for you, and it's trying to mine that depth of human experience, right? Whether you connect it to something that is divine or not, it is a universal message, in my opinion. We talked quite a bit in the interview about their point of view as they brought this forward, coming directly from their Christian faith. But as I hear it, I'm not hit over the head with, you must believe us this way, otherwise you can't get anything out of our music. Does that make sense? It's just, here's us. This is our point of view. We've seen a lot in life. We've played a lot of music in life. We've made mistakes. We've learned lessons. Here's what we want to tell you. Here's what we want to talk about right now. And they're saying, if life's a tree, don't shake it out for me. I've got no time for new additions. From 9 to 5, I'm buried alive. All talk is cheap when no one listens. launch out into the deep water, come down into the deep it isn't hard to find. Really, really fun stuff. Y'all, this suite, well, actually, I should say that this song, Launch Out Part 1, has other sections. There's a Part 2 and I think a Part 3 in the suite. So I'm guessing they'll come back to this main idea at certain points throughout the suite. But I can't wait until about a month from now, as I'm recording this, when this album comes out, and I will definitely be getting a copy for myself. I hope that y'all will as well. It's been wonderful to make an acquaintance with Phil Keaggy. I had never met him virtually or in person before, and to reconnect with Neal, that was quite fun, and to get to meet Chester. Quite a fun thing for me. Like I said, Byron, we missed you, but I loved what you were doing in the video. We've got an absolutely all-star cast of musicians, friends. They've got a brand new album, and that's the first single. And I think the prog world is going to be quite impressed and excited to listen to all of this new music that we have coming out from Cosmic Cathedral. Thanks, y'all, for being with me on this episode. It's been a lot of fun for me, and I'm very thankful for Phil and Neal lending their time, and for Chester popping in and saying hello as well. So thanks, y'all, for being with me. We'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Dog.